Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Edgework. Today we have the Thursday show. I'm joined with So Money, Alex Smith, and Rusty Bill. Guys, how's it going today? Last night, very small slate, but only 2 games. But I'm sure you guys had a couple bets down. How'd they go today or yesterday?
Well, it
Good.
could have been better for me. I know I like that Pittsburgh Buffalo game to go into overtime, and it looked like it was in great shape, 3-3, and all of a sudden, Pittsburgh, that fatigue really showed. They got sloppy. They took some dumb penalties, and Buffalo ran away with it, getting a couple empty net goals late. So 6-3 was the final. So it wasn't necessarily the handicap was right, but the result didn't hit. So that's going to happen on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, definitely. That's not a bad look at all. Yeah, it was right on track to hit there for a while. Yeah, I think like you said, the Pittsburgh Penguins got really fatigued and gave up a lot of easy goals at the end there. I was fortunate enough to hit on the over on both games, and so that turned out well for me.
Yeah,
It was a couple good games.
I had I had nothing yesterday. I was the NHL gave me the morning off, and I was busy dealing with people who were messaging me about games being fixed. So I was dealing with that on Twitter.
That was a great little Twitter thread you had there. If you guys didn't see that, check out So Money Sports on Twitter. He has a great little funny Twitter thread he posted a picture of his DMs. It's hilarious. You guys got to check it out. But anyways, let's get into last night's games fully. First game of the night, we had the Leafs against the Flyers. If you're a big fan of the Hammer Betting Network, you know a lot of us here love the Leafs or we hate the Leafs. I'm part of the team that loves the Leafs. Big fan. They ended up pulling out a win as minus 300 favorites, which crazy this season we haven't seen often. But yeah, they ended up pulling out the win. Bill, do you have any thoughts on last night's game?
Yeah, I mean, I think if they could face Felix Sandstrom every game, then this Leafs team would look like Stanley Cup contenders for sure. But I think that what everyone saw last night was what everyone hoped coming into the season. John Tavares just completely took over, and in the third period, he had the hat trick, and he just had that filthy goal in the third period that just got everybody excited. So I mean, basically what I expected. I actually had my numbers like the Leafs last night, but I liked the over a lot more, and I didn't want to lay a crazy price and the Flyers to do something unexpected. So I'm glad we went with the over, and the over got there. But yeah, I think the Leafs showed exactly what everyone was hoping they would show, and we'll see if that continues going forward when they face a little bit better goalie competition than Sandstrom.
Yeah, for sure. Alex, were you going to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was the John Tavares show last night. He had the hat trick, had the assist, and those guys have to step up. It can't be Austin Matthews all the game, every game. Those other guys have to kind of chip in and contribute. And even look at Mitch Marner. He's got 11 points in 11 games. We've kind of given him flack for different things so far this year. How he sometimes just doesn't show up on the other end of the ice. But offensively, he's getting the job done as well. They got to keep that consistency flowing though. And of course, get some solid goaltending. Like I said, it helps when you're playing the team on the second night of a back-to-back and a bad backup goalie. But if they can piece those wins together against quality teams and quality goaltending, they might have something brewing.
All I want is to keep seeing the Leafs in the minus 300 range long term, and I'll be happy.
Right.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
there'll be some options to go the other way for sure.
Yeah. Well, the Leafs definitely got off to the right foot there. Hopefully they can continue that for my mental sake. But anyways, on to the next game from last night. Pittsburgh at Buffalo. Guys, Pittsburgh was looking like they were going to crush that game. Jason Zucker with the Yager salute. And then what happened? What happened, Pittsburgh? They lost 6-3. Craziness. Alex, you got us any specific takes on this game?
Well, yeah, like I said, I alluded to it earlier. The fatigue showed, and they took 2 back-to-back really bad penalties late. Buffalo ends up, going ahead. Like I said, they just went on a roll, basically had a rally in the third period. But even when that game was tied at 3, like I said, it was still kind of a back-and-forth battle. Pittsburgh had a few chances, but once they put themselves in the hole in the penalty box, that's when Buffalo kind of ran away with it. And if you looked at the previous 4 meetings, so 2 of those had gone to overtime or shootout. The other 2, a 2-1 game and a 1-0 game. So they always play each other really tight, and that score is a tad bit misleading because of those 2 empty net goals. But like I said, that the scheduling spot really kind of crushed Pittsburgh. They were out west for a bunch of games, then had to come home, play a red-hot Boston team. They came back from a deficit, forced overtime, and now another come from behind loss for the Penguins. They got a couple of days to kind of regroup and figure things out before they have to play Seattle on Saturday.
Yeah, the one thing that stands out for Pittsburgh is that they've really gotten away from the style that Mike Sullivan wants to play, and we saw that. Well, I saw that firsthand here against the Canucks, where I mean, if you can make the Canucks look good right now, there's really something wrong with you, right? So I think that um, and and it's also the blown leads, right? That's not really what Mike Sullivan and the Penguins have been about. They're like with this core, they know how to shut games down. So I wouldn't panic right now if I were a Penguins fan, but there's definite cause of concern because this is not the way that we've seen this team play. And also, we have to keep in mind that they've been dealing with some injuries as well, right? So until those guys come back healthy, I think that we need to just give them a little bit more time.
But that's the thing with Pittsburgh. They're always dealing with injuries. Like Chris Letang
That's
is
true.
hurt. Think of a season when Chris Letang wasn't hurt. Or think of
Yeah.
a season when Malkin didn't miss a few games, Crosby didn't miss a few games. So they've all the thing that's different about this year and even last year compared to previous seasons is their depth is so thin now. Especially when you look down in the AHL organization where they had guys that could plug and play. Well, those guys they could plug and play a few years ago, they're now with the team. Brian Rust is a prime example. So they don't have those fill-in spots, those gaps. And for an older team, when you have guys like Jeff Carter, Chris Letang, all on the wrong side of 30, and they get hurt, then you can't really fill in. And then that on top of, like I said, the scheduling spots, it just makes for some bad games. And because of Pittsburgh getting off to a hot start, we're getting some value going against them at times because they've always been a public team. Everybody wants to talk about Sidney Crosby and the Penguins, and so they always draw in money.
Yeah, that might be a good little angle moving forward, especially from that hot streak to start the season. Take a look at teams playing Pittsburgh, and maybe you can find a good edge there. But that wraps up last night's game. Before we get into tonight's games, guys, if you're watching us on Twitter, come over to YouTube, guys. You can interact with us here. You can talk live in the chat. If you're tweeting at us, we can't really see it during the show. So if you want to interact with us live and see what we think about what you guys want to hear about, then come check us out on YouTube. You can find us in the description of the Edgework Twitter account at Edgework Show. So go to at Edgework Show, look at the link tree in the description, and you can find our YouTube there. And while you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button, guys. You'll be notified every time we go live. All right, let's get into tonight's games, starting with Boston, New York. The Rangers confirmed Igor Shesterkin is starting. On the other hand, Boston, we don't know if it's Kincaid or Allmark. Krejci is looking might be hurt, might not play this game, looking like a game time decision. And just before we got on, there was actually some movement towards the Rangers side. So, Bill, you wanted to talk about this game a lot. Let's hear your take on it.
Yeah, I think this will be one of the better games on the slate tonight. Just looking at a numbers perspective, my numbers do make Boston a slight favorite. So if I'm going to get Olmark in goal and Krejci confirmed, then I probably will make a play on Boston. I haven't done anything yet. I haven't locked anything in yet, but this Bruins team has just been shot out of a cannon. They're sixth in expected goals against. They're fourth in overall scoring. I mean, they just got Marchand back, and it seems like they're playing very, very well. On the other side of the puck, the Rangers have they've done what was expected of them the last few games, and they're coming in on a 3-game win streak. But I'm a little bit hesitant. I think Igor's lost a little bit of a step compared to last year, and I think some of the pricing, especially at home, is still reflecting what he did last year. Just absolutely insane season. So I think this will be a very close game. But if you're going to give me the Bruins plus money at plus 105, plus 110, I think I have to take that all day. So I will. I'll be monitoring the goalie situation and the injury, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this as a play for me a little bit later on. I think we'll have to wait to make sure Olmark's in goal before we can lock it in. It would not be a play with Kincaid. But yeah, I've got the Bruins as a favorite here in my numbers, so I'll easily take the plus money if we get Olmark.
Yeah, and the Bruins at plus 119 right now at Pinnacle. If you head over to betstamp.app on your browser, you can see it's an odd screen, great odd screen. You can see all the odds for within your states. And right now it looks like plus 119 at Pinnacle and minus 125 for the Rangers at DraftKings. You guys, Money or Alex, you guys have any opinions or takes on this game, or are we moving on to the next?
No, well, I mean, it is interesting to see that this number is lined at 6 and even some shops 5.5. And like Bill alluded to, this is definitely going to be one of those things where, Shesterkin getting some respect and the Rangers getting some kind of looks at that, and especially the series history between these two teams. The under 10-3 the last 13 meetings, 5-1 the last 6 meetings at Madison Square Garden. Wow. I think there might actually be some value on going over the total here, especially if you wait live. You might see this number from, if you get your book opened at 6, you might see this drop to 5.5 at plus money, and that may be a good time to fire.
I love that. So looking like maybe Boston, depending on who plays and who's in net, and maybe the over if we can see some proper price action in our favor. All right, well, on to the next game. We have the Blackhawks home to the Los Angeles Kings. Right now, minus 164. The Kings are favored at North Star Bets. Alex, I know you wanted to talk a lot about them, so I won't bury the lead here. I'll just throw it right to you.
Yeah, I'm a Hawks fan, and I'll say it was fun while it lasted. They had some nice wins, beat Detroit at home, something you always want to see no matter if the team's trying to tank or win a cup. But now, reality has set in. Alex Stalock gets hit in the head by Casey Cizikas. He's on a concussion protocol. So now the Hawks are rolling with their third and fourth string goalies. That'd be Arvid Soderblom and Dylan Wells, who they just actually formally signed to a 2-way contract yesterday. He's a guy who was in the Edmonton Oilers organization. I think it was a 5th-round draft pick. Kind of bounced around. He was in Rockford. His numbers in the AHL are not good. And that's the same for Soderblom as well. So now you've got 2 mid-range AHL goalies going up against the LA Kings team that we know can turn on that offense at any given point. I love this team total over for the Kings. 3.5. I know you can find $1.10 or $1.15 at a couple of shops. I got $1.10 early this morning. I think the Kings can kind of almost name their score depending on how they go. And we haven't heard a confirmation yet, but it doesn't matter between Soderblom and Wells. They're pretty much equally as bad in my eyes. So Kings team total over, I really like.
Oh yeah, that definitely is looking good there. And yeah, the Blackhawks tough 4-game loss streak, losing Seth Jones, just everything's not going their way, even though they weren't looking to be a good team at the start of the season. So it's all good. I mean, hey,
like the late Dennis Green said, they are who we thought they were.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just to echo one quick thing. I love that look, Alex. I didn't even think about the LA Kings, the over there, but yeah, I just locked in the Kings in regulation this morning at minus 115. The Kings are not very good on defense. They're great at generating chances. They're great at putting the puck in the net, but they're not good on defense. But on the other side of the puck is Chicago can't score. And one of the only reasons that they had a chance in those first few games was Stalock was just standing on his head. And now, now they get Soderblom. So yeah, I agree with pretty much everything that Alex said. And yeah, I'm on the Kings here, and I think the over 3.5 is a great look also.
Oh yeah, and that Gabe Vilardi shot out of the cannon to start the year. Crazy story for him. Good for him. Always happy to see a young guy like that succeed in the league. All right, guys, on to the next game, our last game before we get into our best bets. It's going to be the Carolina Hurricanes at the Tampa Bay Lightning. The marquee matchup of the night. Looks like Hedman is a game-time decision. I don't think we have any confirmations on the goalie yet. So Money, I know you wanted to talk about this one, so I'll start with you.
Yeah, so we did make a play on this a little bit earlier. I think the market's drifted out of range now. We're seeing Carolina. It's basically a pick 'em right now. So we did play them earlier. So besides a weird kind of uncharacteristic performance against the Islanders, the Canes are playing well, which for them means carrying possession and playing stifling defense. So Tampa Bay's a little bit strange right now because they're showing that they're kind of willing to do the bare minimum to get results. They had good numbers against the Sharks and the Ducks, but of course that's not saying much. They did struggle against the Kings, and even though they got the win against the Islanders in that game with Elliott, that was only a scoreboard win. Couple of things I see here. So they also got themselves into a coin flip against Ottawa in a game where they were aided by the Senators, who are so undisciplined right now. I don't know what's going on there with the penalties they're taking. So what I'm seeing now is a Tampa Bay team that has enough to win against inferior opponents and inconsistent teams, but they're struggling when they need to step up in class. Of course, we know there's nothing inferior about the Hurricanes right now. So maybe besides Freddie Anderson's kind of inconsistency here to start the season, it's a small sample size. Well, we have a big enough sample size on him, so there's no concern there. I I'm projecting here Vasilevsky and Anderson. I don't see there's that would change. Hedman, I priced this with Hedman in the lineup, so if he is out, we'll get a nice bump there. Yeah, so we played it earlier in the plus 115 plus 110 range. Unfortunately, right now it's out of range. But if Hedman is in, I did price this with him playing. So once if he's in, Tampa Bay will get a bump. That's when we we might get some value on Carolina again.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. Right now, looking at the BetStamp odds screen, looks like best price for Carolina is plus 100 at North Star if you're in Ontario. But yeah, if you want to check out BetStamp and find the best price in your own state or province, check it out. You guys have any more takes on that game, or you want to head into best bets?
Yeah, not much on that one.
All right, fair enough. Well, we'll head into best bets, but before we do that, guys, on Twitter, one more time, head over to YouTube, guys, because you can interact with us and hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. It's literally free. There's no reason not to. You'll be notified every time we go live. So, yeah, hit the subscribe button. Let's get into our best bets of the night, guys. Starting off with our best prop bets. I think I started with let's start with Bill for our best prop bets of the night.
Props. I'm not looking at a ton of props tonight. Mainly sides and totals. I think that, as we alluded to earlier, I think you could find a pretty good number on any of the Kings players to score a goal, just because I think the goals would be plenty in that one. I'm also looking at the over in the Florida and the Sharks game, the Florida San Jose game. So I think that there would be a couple of props on the Panthers side. I'm not a huge props guy, mainly sides and totals, so I'll kick it over to Alex or So Money to start off the props.
Alex, you want to go ahead then?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, as far as player props, like I said, I kind of look more toward team specific props.
Yeah, sure.
Things like I said, like the team total over with LA tonight. That's probably one of the things I like the most. But you touched kind of briefly on that Panthers Sharks game. I think for the Panthers, it might be a decent look at that first period puck line, and maybe look at Sergei Bobrovsky's saves over. His numbers against the Sharks have been phenomenal, 11-5-1 in his career. A couple of shutouts thrown in there. So maybe Sergei Bobrovsky over saves. The Sharks might get some good chances, some good looks. We saw the offense open up a bit in that game against Anaheim. But, I mean, really when it comes down to Florida, if they lock down defensively, it's not going to be too much going in the back of the net. So Florida first period puck line and Bobrovsky over saves.
I love that. And So Money, your best prop bet?
I haven't looked at props today, so it's been a busy morning with that big board. So I've just been monitoring the trying to get out of the morning skates here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all good. We'll skip that then. Let's head over for our best bets of the night then, guys. I started with Bill last time, so Alex, let's take it away.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go out to the desert, Arizona State University campus. You got the Dallas Stars playing the Arizona Coyotes. It's the last Coyotes game at home for quite a long time as they go on a 14-game road trip. Hopefully when they come back, they'll actually have some real dressing rooms for both teams. That'll be nice to see. But everybody has mentioned about how lively the ice is and how fast the boards are reacting. And I've been just riding this, even though it is 1-2. Should have really been 2-1, but I like this first period over. MGM, you can get it at minus $1.25, which I think is a great bargain. And also, people are reacting because Dallas, they are 4-6 last 10 games to the first period over. They're trending under like they've been doing the last couple of years. So now the books are kind of reacting and thinking, here we go. Here's Dallas again. That's not so fast, my friend. Dallas's offense can actually move the puck around a little bit more than what we've seen in recent years. So I love that first period over tonight.
Absolutely. I love that too. Dallas seems to always get labeled as a defensive team, but with the moves that they've made, and just the improvements that their team has made overall, I think they're pretty good to score a couple of goals. So Money, you got your best bet for the night?
I thought I would have a best bet with Carolina, but I can't recommend that now at that number. So we did move on another play in the morning that's still it's still kind of in range right now, and I will still do it. It's in St. Louis, the Islanders against the Blues. I'm playing the under 6 here. We can still get it up to minus 115. That's 120 would be the cutoff there. So the Blues have been playing well. Well, no, they haven't been playing well. They've been playing a lot looser lately. And based on the evidence that we have with this core, I would expect them to start tightening it up, especially with the extra practice time and all the stuff coming out of their camp these days about how they've been working out in practice. Of course, the concern here is that the Islanders are just humming along offensively with their offensive generation here. It and it hasn't been cheap either, because two of those recent games were against Colorado and against Carolina, where they were able to generate a lot of chances. So it's not like they're beating up on like the crappy defensive teams either. So I do like the under here. I don't trust any coach in the league right now in terms of their goaltending. So I'm expecting Binnington and net. That's the way that I've priced this. And I'm also expecting Sorokin too. So it's a little bit of a risk here because, like I said, I don't trust them, but that's the way that I priced this. So under 6, up to minus 120. We can still get that in the market, and under the assumption that we're going to get Binnington against Sorokin.
Yeah, and that's a great price there. St. Louis, there's murmurs that Berube might be people might be wanting him fired, but he took that team to a Stanley Cup. He's got a longer leash than people realize, and I think the players really do love him there. So I see that as a great bounce back spot and a great defensive team. So I love the under there. And our last pick of the night, Bill, what do you got for us?
I think we're gonna go out to Calgary now. There's a number of plays I like on these favorites, and so we are going to play the regulation line. And so looking at Calgary regulation minus 130 is what we locked in this morning. Just generally speaking about the two teams, I'm very, very low on Nashville this year, and it's proved, it's worked out pretty well so far. Just looking at some of the numbers, Nashville's 20th in expected goals against. And then even the goalie matchup, there's a huge disparity. Saros is sort of losing a step. He's 34th in goals saved above expectation, where normally we would see him, in that top 10 range. And so I think if you can get Calgary in regulation below minus 140, minus 130, I think that's a good play. They should easily handle this Predators team at home. So that's what we're going to go with, is the Calgary Flames minus 130 in the 60-minute regulation.
Awesome. I love all those plays, guys. Shaping up to be a great night for the Edgework Show's Bet Stamp account. Guys, go follow the Edgework Show Bet Stamp account. You get notified every time we lock plays in on there live right as they happen. And I think that's it for us today, guys. So thank you, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you're on Twitter, come over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified every time we go live. And if you're looking for some more betting content, on the Hammer HQ Twitter account, we'll be having a NBA props bet show. So tune into that. Pips NBA and Jacob Germania host the show. They do a great job at it. They've been crushing the last couple of days. So check that out if you're interested in that. That's it from us today, guys. Good luck on your bets. For So Money at So Money Sports, for Rusty Bill at Rusty_Bill, for Alex Smith at AX Smith Sports, I'm Jason Cooper. Thank you guys so much for watching Edgework today. Have a good rest of your day.
Yep.